goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Kind, and join my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Oh, my spidey sense is tingling.
Oh, you got the spidey tingle?
Nope, that's my prostate.
Yeah, that's your prostate. That's called my boner. Every time I was watching this movie, they're mentioning the tingle, I'm just like, that is called an erection.
It would be amazing if every time Peter just got a throbbing hard on. Like, Aunt May's like, Pete, I see your pants. What's wrong, honey?
That's the wrong type of that's the wrong type of movie. This is the wrong type of movie.
On spray. Yeah.
Ew. It's going to be that kind of episode. Well, I mean, it makes sense. We were recording this at like 11:16 at night. So
yeah,
it's after hours, Brian and John. Yeah. So, welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show. We're on episode 231, and we're ringing in 2022 with a review of what apparently is the biggest budget box office hit, say that 5 times fast, of 2021, and that is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, I wanted for a second to call this Into the Spider-Verse. That's the animated one.
That's what this is. Let's be completely fucking honest here. This is no joke, a live action version of Into the Spider-Verse. There's no Kingpin in this, and if you want Kingpin, just go watch the Hawkeye series because he's in that.
Yeah, which is strange. I thought that like the movies couldn't use Kingpin because this contract and that and only the TV stuff could use, and I don't know.
Well, it's a lot easier now because the TV stuff couldn't do that for the longest time because that was owned by Marvel Comics, and this is the Marvel Marvel Studios. So like Marvel Comics had all the TV rights. That's why like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, all that stuff that existed, and then the MCU was all Marvel Studios. Ultimately it's because corporate entities don't like each other. That's what you have. You have two corporate entities that do not like each other. So
I want all the money. Well, I want all the money too.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. And I mean, you could say that Spider-Man No Way Home is quite literally corporate entities getting along because you've got Sony, working with Marvel, and there you go.
Well, Marvel and Marvel, right? Because we got like Daredevil in this. Like, so it's like Marvel Comics meets Marvel's Cinematic Universe meets Sony. It's like, oh, look, they're all playing together. Isn't it nice?
I think I remember us even talking about this before the whole Spider-Man thing happened, where we're just like, do you understand how big of a fucking cash cow it would be if you allowed Spider-Man into the MCU? And then they did it. And we're just like, see all the money that you've created from that?
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is kind of like the culmination of, give us your money. That's what I think they should have called this. Spider-Man, take my money now.
Yeah. No, Spider-Man member berries.
Member Tobey Maguire?
Maybe Andy Garfield. Maybe Goblin.
Spider-Man nostalgia way home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this, honestly, like, I saw this in the theater. I thought that was overall a solid entry. And for me, at least, it checked off all of my boxes, meaning that I actually, and I'll be the first to say this, I did not go crazy on the like theories, because that's kind of a common thing that you see nowadays with the sort of big movies that come out, is everyone comes up with their own fucking theories and everyone comes up with how they feel the movie's going to go. And ultimately, I've always felt that leads to disappointment.
Yeah. And like, why do you want to like try to figure it out before it happens. You'll see that like on YouTube, like,
Yeah.
hey, here's my third breakdown of the first trailer and blah, blah, blah. And if you look here, there's something blue in the corner, which must mean like, dude, just fucking just go see the movie, eat your popcorn, eat your fucking milk duds, and just have a good time. Just chill out. It's just a Spider-Man fucking movie. This isn't the Sabruder film, you know?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if there was the amount of attention to detail paid to like the Zapruder film, you would everyone would know who actually killed JFK right on the spot. You know, you would know that on 9/11, you know, what happened to what was it the third building. You know, everybody would know. But all I'm saying is like I know I see this a lot with Star Wars. Like Star Wars is probably enemy number one on this thing, but I've seen this happen with this particular film, and I honestly think that it's all Marvel's doing for the most part, because they told everyone, hey, tell them that they're not in the movie. And so every single time they would talk to Tobey Maguire and Andy Garfield and just be like, hey, you're in the movie. They went, oh no, we're not in the movie. That literally just fans the flames. Yeah.
And I poor Andrew Garfield, like Tobey Maguire, he's not really in the spotlight anymore these days, like for the most part. But Andrew Garfield,
not unless he's like, playing poker, could be doing that.
But just like I just wish his response has been like "fuck you" every time they asked him, instead of like like say, "Oh no, they haven't talked to me." But boy, golly,
he's too nice of a guy. He's too nice of a guy. Like that's the funny thing about it, is that Tobey Maguire, everyone thinks Tobey Maguire is a nice guy. In reality, there's a lot of stories that he's not that nice of a guy.
He's a weird eccentric actor. You know what I mean? Like he's that kind of guy. Like, yeah, you're not going to have a great time with him. But I mean, if you worked with him on set, I'm sure he's professional. But if you're like asking him for an autograph when he's eating dinner at a restaurant, yeah, he's probably going to be a huge dick to you.
Yeah. but like okay. Andy Garfield actually is. He seems like a genuine nice guy who's just as happy to be there. Yeah. But it was for me at least. It was overall a fun time. I took Coraline to see this, and Coraline actually, this was her first movie, and she didn't cry in. She didn't fall asleep in. Like, I don't know about you, but like that's a big fucking deal.
Oh, well, I cry and fall asleep in most movies. So.
Well, she fell asleep through Eternals and cried at that, which I blame that runtime and the content on that one.
Yeah, I can't be too snarky. That I did not see Eternals. I'll rent it. But
it's on Disney Plus now. They released it on there. So if you got that, after you're watching the Book of Boba Fett, just watch that. There you go. You're good.
Yeah, but, I heard it's a bath of hot sick, but.
Which one? The Eternals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. It's very much, at least for me, and this isn't an Eternals, review. For me, at least, it didn't leave much of an impression, hence why I'd not really given it a review. But it was a paint by numbers superhero film.
Which is most of what Marvel is,
It is, but this one especially, like, just gave you characters that you don't give two shits about.
Well, they're getting cocky too. You know what I mean? Like,
don't get penisy.
Before the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the studios bought up Spider-Man, X-Men, and Hulk. Like, different studios, because like those are the three that everybody knows. Yeah. But then the Marvel Cinematic Universe is like, well, who do we have left? Who can we buy? Iron Man. Everybody kind of knows Iron Man. Oh, Captain America. People. Kind of Thor, but the thing is, those ended up being really successful.
Your B squad.
Yeah. And then but then Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and like, unless you're a huge comic book nerd, which I actually just found out, I was going through my bedroom a couple months ago and found some Guardians of the Galaxy comic books. I'm like, did I even read these? Because I don't remember.
Apparently you did.
Yeah, apparently, but I don't remember. Like, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, what the hell are Guardians of the Galaxy? But that was a success. So they're like, they got really cocky, like, oh, we can do Shang-Chi and the 45 bracelets and the
Shang-Chi and the 45 bracelets,
whatever it was called. I don't know. It sucked. That's all I remember.
Oh, come on, Shang-Chi didn't suck. It was just, again, another paint by numbers, superhero movie. I mean, the truth is that particular film, its problem, and its really only reason for existing, was to correct the Mandarin. That was it.
Yeah. They made
it.
$150 million movie to fix that mistake.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Marvel has money to burn. They don't care.
Yeah, right. I think they wipe their ass with like 10s. I mean, not 20s. They're not stupid, you know.
Yeah, but this film, you can tell there was some love put into it. Yeah, and there was some fan service, and it, for me at least, it 100% delivered on expectation, which that's a hard thing to kind of land. It's a hard landing to hit. Yeah. So I guess where we'll start with this, because I don't want to go necessarily play by play, but I do want to like tackle some of the main elements of this. Is this film picks up immediately after Spider-Man: Far From Home. In the situation in that particular film, if you haven't seen it, which you should watch it, and I would say it's necessary to know what happened at the end of it, just because even though you get a little bit of a recap, it's not fully fleshed out. But in that film, Spider-Man kills Mysterio, which didn't see that one coming, and his secret identity is leaked to everyone's favorite Alex Jones impersonator, J. Jonah Jameson, which I gotta say, I love what they did with this, because I was like, you brought back what's his face? Oh, what the hell is his name? J.K. Simmons into the role. And they could have very easily just put him in like the Sam Raimi style, the classic JJ. But instead they went with this very much Alex Jones impersonator.
It's a good, update, because like, I don't think it's as newspapers are dead. I don't think it's as grim as people say, but like the whole idea of the newspaper tycoon controlling everything that you believe is passe. So, having him be an Alex Jones type, some like visual podcast, like, conspiracy theorist maniac, like, that's pretty accurate.
That honestly to me feels very much accurate. And I think it's a good update for audiences to understand kind of what sort of pressures Peter Parker's dealing with, because that's the whole idea when this first act of this film is just what are the repercussions of the world knowing who Spider-Man is. So like his whole right to privacy is pretty much fucking gone. He's got damage control, the Office of Damage Control, which again, I love the fact they pull some of these comic book threads in. It's a nice way they weave it together. That's classic Marvel for you. Taking these elements that people know about, the Office of Damage Control, and weaving it into the story, where nowadays, apparently, the government is concerned with how the superheroes, blow up, cities and shit.
Yeah, which makes 100% sense, because, well, Tony Stark should, he died here. That man should have been arrested and put in jail for the rest of his life for Ultron alone. Oh,
for Ultron alone.
You made a sentient murder bot that almost destroyed the entire world, and you just kind of went whoopsie and left, and then made like $100 billion more. Like, good for you, asshole. Oh,
it's like, well, I made this virtual reality thing. Oh shit, that apparently birthed another super villain. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's all Tony Stark's fault.
Yeah, you gave sunglasses to a 16-year-old kid that can control nuclear warheads and shit. Like, you fucking asshole. Drone strikes and
that's Tony Stark in hell, giving everyone the middle finger. I snap my fingers to save the world. Now I'm flipping the bird to all of you.
Yeah, the hypocrite Tony Stark. Like, remember Civil War? Tony Stark was the one like, oh, we need to be regulated. We need to have some kind of checks and balances. That was his whole motto. And then when he got into a fight with his boyfriend, Captain America, he went and hired an underage kid and gave him like military weaponry to help beat up his boyfriend, Captain America. That's exactly against every single fucking thing he's supposed to believe in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But we all went, Spider-Man, yay!
I think that's called suspension of disbelief. That's what that is.
What, when he absolutely pisses on everything that he's supposed to stand for in the same movie?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, so in this film, the first act, Peter Parker's life is pretty much torn to shit. He can't get into, he was trying to get into MIT. Yeah. With, MJ and Ned, slim down Ned, which good for you, Ned. You're setting up the fact that you're going to become a villain.
Yeah. If you know your
comic books, you're like, oh, why Ned really slimmed down? He's looking good. Yeah, it's because he's going to become the Hobgoblin.
Yeah, which I'm aware. I think that like it's always good to know as far as these comic book superhero things like what you grew up with. And for me, in terms of Marvel, like I read a whole litany of comics, but the ones that I absolutely were fixated on were Spider-Man and X-Men. Yeah. Those were so. Anytime there's a Spider-Man movie, I get excited and, but I'm also trepidatious every single time. And I will say this before we go too much further. This is, and I 100% mean this is, this is my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie to date.
Really?
Yeah. I fucking
You know what? I can honestly buy that. I can buy that.
I have a lot of problems, like minor problems in terms of the plot. Then I also have like greater overall issues of it being like member berries, and I also have problems with doing alternate universes is kind of a get out of jail free writing card. Like if you fuck something up or something doesn't work, just say, oh, we went into an alternate timeline and we fixed all that shit, kind of like they did with X-Men Days of Future Past, where it's like,
yeah, but I like Days of Future Past.
Right, but that was a get out of jail free card writing,
No, that was called too many screenwriters in the kitchen, and they fucked it all up in terms of timeline. How do we resolve all the timelines together so that they're cohesive? And that was what that was. And honestly, comic books do this all the time. Like, think about
they end up fucking themselves.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like every single time that you hear, like I remember when DC did the New 52, and that was supposed to be like a big like rebrand of everything and and make it cohesive. And prior to that, you had Crisis on Infinite Earths, and all sorts of shit. That honestly, it's the same thing as what we see with these movies. As we get more and more of these films, that leads to more and more possibilities that continuity gets fucked up. So you need to have another one of these sorts of, course correction movies, as I like to call them. Plus, let's be completely honest here. This was really a gift to Sony so that they can, in essence, create, an amazing Spider-Man, not amazing, but a sequel to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies now, because they've pumped up the popularity of them. Because obviously MCU is going to get, classic Tom Holland Spider-Man. They're not going to get the others, but now this is something that Sony can say, hey, now we can do the Sinister Six with Andrew Garfield, and we can do, maybe a Tobey Maguire crossover. Like, that's kind of what this has done, is help them. But you're right. I think that time travel and multiverse shit, it's a hard act to really hit right. But I felt that the rules were pretty much explained fairly well in this. That was one of the things that I had an issue with Endgame being, is that they never really narrowed down exactly how time travel works.
I think what they suggested is that they were creating a new timeline, like a new time thread. It's not like Back to the Future rules where, Marty went back in time and shot his dad, and then he would have just disappeared because he never would have existed. Yeah. It's one of those things that, like, the idea is that if Marty McFly went back in time and shot his dad, he's creating a new timeline. So the original timeline is there, but now it's like this skewed off timeline. So now there's two realities or some shit.
That's
what Hulk said.
Yeah, I know that's what Hulk said, and that's why we had about 5 different scenes explaining it, almost like they should have been like if they had Deadpool at the time, Deadpool quite literally would have broken the fourth wall and just been like, listen, this is how time travel is going to work in this movie, audience, okay? So put down your popcorn, put down your drink. I'm going to break out the chalkboard, and we're going to explain this Back to the Future style here.
Yeah. The old chalkboard.
The old chalkboard.
But just like Back to the Future too. Like,
that's my point.
A new timeline, a new 1985. Yeah.
it's skewed into this tangent. See, that made sense to me. You know, like they should have just done that.
But somebody had mentioned, I think it was just a fan online. I had this really funny idea that since they had acquired, you know, like Fox and everything, Disney, they should have had at the very end of the movie, like the second, you know, how the second mid-credit thing is always kind of like more of a flippant, funny one or whatever. Yeah. They should have had the battle sequence and like right after the battle was over, and Deadpool should have just walked in the scene and said, "Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything?" And just like, "Ah, shit," you know.
That's coming one of these days because they already said they've got him and they want to use him. I think they don't know how to use an R-rated character in what is in essence a PG-13 landscape.
And one that constantly breaks the fourth wall. I mean, that's, you know, but.
Yeah. So anyway, in this movie, got kind of off on a tangent there, but it's all talk about Spider-Man shit, so it's cool. In this reality, you know, Peter Parker is dealing with these repercussions, and he's seen how it is affecting everyone that is close to him. So he comes up with the idea based off looking at Halloween decorations with Stephen Strange's face on them, which I find hilarious. Like, Stephen Strange better be getting money off of those. That he's going to go to Doctor Strange and see if Doctor Strange can use his mystical magic shit to, in essence, help solve the problem and wipe away the memory that, you know, everybody knows that he's Spider-Man. So trying to get rid of that. That's kind of the impetus. That's what the trailers have basically said. I got to say, I like the way that Stephen Strange is presented in this film.
Well, and the thing is, I love Bagel Bungle, you know, Cuban Streak, you know, but
you know, you fuck up his name like every time that he's in it. I remember
I'm pretty sure I nailed it there. Yeah,
Bagel Bundle, Cuban Street.
What, Barbosa Cabin Fire? I don't know.
Eggs Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But no, he also is that the whole Doctor Strange character is kind of wants also a get out of jail free card. Like, he can do anything he wants because it's magic.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's just it's cheating. You know, like Captain America has super strength. Iron Man has a suit. It's like, Doctor Strange can just do whatever we need plot wise. Like,
that's why he's taken out of the movie, like the 2/3 of the film.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah. Hey,
that's the whole reason why.
Good.
That's the whole reason why. It's the same shit they did with Far From Home, right? Tony Stark's not there to pick up the mess anymore. So it's the same thing. It's like you introduce Stephen Strange, you introduce that he can do some shit. He fucks up some crap because Peter Parker has to, like, you know, be a millennial. Well, no, he'd be a Xennial, right?
Yeah.
Is that what he is?
Yeah.
One of those. So he has to be a Xennial and, like, you know, fuck up the spell. He couldn't just shut his fucking mouth for 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I mean, he was realizing that he didn't do it right. No, it's not his fault. Doctor Strange should have just stopped doing the fucking spell for 10 seconds. Said, "Okay, let's make sure we have this entirely figured out before I continue." But no, he just had to fucking keep going.
He did, but at the same time, like, if I'm Peter Parker and I'm seeing all this magic shit swirling around me, I think I would shut up. Like, I think I would probably shut up and just look at all the magic shit rather than, like, saying, "Oh, wait a minute, make sure MJ doesn't wait. I need May to know. I need Happy to shut up. Just shut. I remember seeing it there. I'm like, can he shut the fuck up for 5 seconds? But yeah, so Stephen Strange, he comes in. A lot of people think that he's like going to be like the mentor. He ended up not being that, because the one thing that this movie does have going for it is I consider this like a full transition from the Spider-Man at the end of, say, Endgame, who is very much still a kid, to one that is more or less an adult, like you see with the Andrew Garfield and especially the Tobey Maguire ones. But yeah, Stephen Strange is not a mentor. He's very much an asshole in this. Doesn't listen to Peter Parker. Doesn't listen to his reasonings why he wants to save the villains in this, which we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Doctor Strange is an ex machina. You know what I mean?
He is. Yeah. He's the connection to magic being there. You couldn't have Wong do it. Okay, because people look at poor Wong. Well, he's the Sorcerer Supreme now because Stephen Strange was dusted for 5 years. But it's like, Wong is the comic relief. He's also the explanation guy. That's why they threw him into Shang-Chi. It was nice to see him battle the Abomination. But the point is, it's like you have to have Stephen Strange do it. Because it's like, well, you got the toys here. Bring out Doctor Strange for that sort of thing. So yeah, magic gets fucked up, and there's some crazy repercussions. You want to talk a little about the repercussions?
Yeah, it's he accidentally opens up a gate to another studio, and
look, it's a gateway to Sony Land.
Yeah, it accidentally brings into Tom Holland's Spider-Man's universe, at first we see is just the enemies from other, movie, better movies.
Better movie.
Well, there's a reason we see Alfred Molina first, and then also Green Goblin ends up being the big bad villain, the biggest, because which is ballsy of Marvel Cinematic Universe admitting oh, these were better movies and more ones that people remember more. So we better let these be the main villains because we suck.
I mean, it's true. Yeah. It's true, though. What I found interesting was that they didn't try to pull in villains from their own universe that maybe they have their own alternate realities, right? Universes where, I don't know, Mysterio still is alive. That being one. Instead, they pulled in ones that were complete member-berry ones, things that you're like, oh yeah, Spider-Man 2 was considered at the time one of the best Spider-Man films.
One of the best comic book movies.
Period. Yeah, one of the best comic book movies. So yeah, it's no surprise that Otto Octavius ends up becoming very important in the film and honestly shines in this film. At least for me, he had a hit on a very emotional level. Him and Willem Dafoe both hit on dual emotional levels. Jamie Foxx, I think, was redeemed a little bit.
Yeah.
As Electro, being that he was not blue in this one. And they kind of explained a little bit of that. Somehow, apparently, the universe's energy in the MCU fixed his blue skin.
Sure.
Okay, we'll go with that. And gave him a more comic accurate costume.
Well, I think, that was it very much in line with the comic books and stuff. But I also think not just because the whole blue thing was embarrassing, but I also think that they didn't want to have to pay the money for all that digital effect work. That was, I think, another reason.
No, I don't think that was it. I think it was called they've never had any shortage of money to pay for digital effect work. I think it's just called, that was the thing that YouTubers made fun of that movie for. I mean, there were a lot of things that they made fun of that movie for, but that was a big one. Paul Giamatti as the Rhino was another big one. That's why you didn't see him show up in this.
That would have been, a lot of people were for how dumb they made Rhino in that movie. So many people were so pissed that they didn't see the fight between Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Rhino. Maybe they should have had him in there.
Well, that's because of the trailers. The trailers kind of hinted at that, but then got rid of it.
Well, the two people we didn't see in this one for two different reasons. One was Tobey Maguire's Venom, because of course no one wanted to see that.
No one wanted to see that.
And we also didn't have Sex Pest James Franco in this movie. Womp womp. I can't imagine why they didn't bring James Franco on.
Yeah, well, he's dead.
Yeah.
But then again, everybody's dead in this.
Yeah, everybody's dead. Yeah, it's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Long story short, we get a bunch of different action sequences. Peter gathering up his toys and getting them locked
Peter
in
gathering up his toys.
Yeah. And getting them locked in Doctor Strange's sex dungeon. And all behind Hannibal Lecter glass. And
I think I found it funny that he had a goatee template. Did you notice? He had a goatee template.
And
Yeah.
so he's like, hey, all these guys like died in their respective universes, so we gotta kill these motherfuckers.
I mean, Stephen Strange is fucking cold-blooded.
Well, he has a good point. Like, it could absolutely disrupt like the entire fucking universe if they don't do it, and they already were gonna die anyways.
Yes, but wouldn't that fuck up their universes? It wouldn't fuck up the MCU prime timeline. It would fuck up their universes, like,
which I think then would upset their universe, i.e., the multiverse of madness that we were getting later.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever, whatever. But I look at it this way: didn't they already fuck that up when they basically played God and changed how these villains basically what they ended up at? Because every one of these villains, for the most part, is redeemed to some degree.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. And if we want to talk about playing God, like, after half of the population was blipped out of existence, and then they just used time travel to bring everyone back, like, and now you want to tell me that, like, this is like gonna disrupt the universe and everything?
I was gonna say this is coming from some asshole who literally played a game of what's the word I'm thinking of? Oh, just a repeat game with time for his first movie.
Zone. Yeah.
Like his first movie, he basically fucked up and ripped apart time, multiple times, like at least 100 times with Dormammu. And he's the asshole saying, hey, just saying, only I can fuck shit up. You can't fuck shit up.
Yeah. And he's kind of an asshole about it, which I didn't quite understand. Just go back a little bit. We were talking about.
Yeah.
I thought that Doctor Strange had reached a point where he wasn't a careless asshole anymore. I thought that was his whole point of his journey in these movies. And for him to be like, I got 3 cups of coffee. I got to take a shit. So let's do this magic thing for you, little kid, real quick that could fuck everything up because I'm still an idiot. I don't know. Like,
well, let's just be completely honest here. He is a replacement for Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
That's what Stephen Strange honestly has always been in the MCU is, I don't know, Walmart Robert Downey Jr.
Wish.com.
He's great value.
Yeah.
Wish.com. Wish.com. It's like, well, we don't have, Robert Downey Jr. anymore. What do we got? Well, we got that, Eggs Benedict Cumberbatch there. Well, I'll make him the snarky asshole with pop culture references.
Bengal bat.
Like Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Scooby-Doo this fucker. It's like, what, dude? Like, you're not Iron Man. You can't say things like that.
Well, when I saw Doctor Strange, I'm like, oh, he's just Tony Stark. He's a rich genius asshole.
Yes.
Like, oh, wow, how original of a character.
How original, Fahey. You made a rich genius asshole. Again, only this time he's got magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, all the villains kind of start to populate and each I will say this, I like the way that they, with this film, gave every villain like their own time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's one of these things that oftentimes these movies that have these many moving parts, these many characters, it ends up being a difficult balancing act to make sure that you get people time. I'd say the only person who didn't get any time in this, and I feel bad for them because they never really explained how this person died, but that's supposed to be it, is Sandman. Sandman got shafted in this film.
Yeah, I mean, so did old Curtis Connor, Yeah,
we don't need to know much about him. Yeah. He's a lizard guy.
It went basically Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and then Electro, and then and Sandman and the fucking alligator here. I'm sorry, Crocodile. Crocodile gotta get. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is with Lizard, they're just like, all he says is, "I wanted to turn the city into lizard people." It's like that's literally the extent of your character. We're not going to go into any of the shit of why you want to do it. we're just going to say that that's what you wanted to do.
Meanwhile, crocodiles aren't lizards, though, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't really think so.
You're an idiot, Stanley.
He's like, well, it looks good on paper. There you go. I'm selling to children. And then Sandman, Sandman, of course, they were able to get the original actor back for it. Unfortunately, just back as a voice and not a person. But yeah, I mean, they gave him like maybe 5 minutes, and they never really explained why he decided to not be good, because when we last left Sandman, he was not a villain anymore.
I just want to get home to my daughter.
He just wanted to get home to his daughter. That was literally it.
Yeah.
That was it.
I need to get home to her.
Yeah.
I'm a dad and sand dad.
I just love the fact he's like, I'm not your Peter. What do you mean you're not my Peter? Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
It's like, I know your Peter is kind of sandy right now, but like,
But yeah, after they've been, caught,
collected.
Peter
Let's be honest here, it's collected.
Yeah. Gotta collect all your, all the memorabilia.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah. Who's that Spidey villain? Peter basically steals a literal MacGuffin from Doctor Strange and says, I'm not going to let you kill everybody. I'm going to use Stark technology to make them like not assholes. And, and of course that doesn't work. And everybody just, goes haywire. And we all found out that Green Goblin was kind of an asshole the entire time. I gotta say,
I like what they did with Green Goblin in this film. Mainly because the fact that Green Goblin always, even in the Raimi films, felt very one-dimensional. And that was just a style. I mean, that was kind of just what those films are. They're very campy. And I like the fact that in this film, you really hate Willem Dafoe in this. Like, I really did not like him at all in this as a character. He did a fantastic job in it, but like, he gave a facet to him that was, at one moment you're sympathetic to him because clearly the man is suffering from, I would say, an extreme case of dissociative personality disorder. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think that's what I'd call it. But at the same time, that other personality is so maniacal and so pure evil that it's kind of like, how do you resolve that? And the way they played it in this film, I felt was probably the best way of kind of showing a villain like that since, I'd say, like, Heath Ledger. You know what I mean?
Bold. Yeah. But I also do love when he's introduced that he smashes that hideous goblin mask. It's like, that was a nice slam by Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, don't worry, he's not going to have that dumbass mask in this one.
I never had a problem with the mask. I don't know why people hated that mask so much.
They were, I don't even know how you properly do that. Because if it was a rubber mask, it would look even worse. It would look like the mask, like Jim Carrey. Like,
well, they had done tests with a foam latex mask with servos and shit. You can look it up on YouTube. We'll probably put a link to it in our show notes. But yeah, they had done a test with it, and for whatever reason, they decided not to go that route. I didn't have a problem with it because it made sense within the story of, a flying suit and that sort of shit. And yeah, of course you're going to want to have, some kind of, helmet to go with it. But no, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. Especially since, in this one too, it's like everybody knows that, this is Norman Osborn and is Green Goblin. So he doesn't have to like wear a mask in this one. He's got that cool, like shrouded hood kind of thing going. But long story short, everything gets fucked up. All the villains are running wild again.
They're all running wild.
And Ned has some like magic jewelry he stole from Doctor Strange, you know? And
it was hidden amongst all of the crap in his sex dungeon.
Yeah. He looked over past the dildo and the chains and found this magic, jewelry.
It's like, oh, behind the sex swing, there's this magic spinny thing. I gotta get that.
And he ends up, opening portals like almost instantaneously, which something that like took Doctor Strange like, a couple of years or some shit. But anyways,
he had fucked up hands though. That's the only reason I could say it. And remember, it is implied that Ned's got some, magic genes in his lineage.
Which
yeah.
That was a joke line, but apparently it's true at the same time. It's like you can't have it be a joke and have it be factual.
They did in this movie.
Yeah. It'd be like Hulk being like, oh man, I'll tell you, I took a dump that I swear could have killed Thanos. It's like, oh, Hulk. And then at the end of the movie, Hulk shits in his face and kills him. Like, no, it's a joke. You can't actually do that.
I'm just getting an image of my head of Hulk just parting his butt cheeks and just dropping a big green deuce. And it's so powerful. Like, it just, he's like, oh, it's going to be a big one. Pow! And it's a shockwave that just knocks Thanos down.
Thanos, I'm not inevitable. It just melts,
I'm not inevitable. Oh, God.
Tony Stark walks up and is like, I'm so glad I did it. It's like, you didn't do anything, Tony. Didn't I?
Didn't I, though? Who do you think gave you that laxative, Hulk?
Yeah, that's Stark Industry poop pills.
Yeah. Midnight recording is fun. I gotta tell you, it's fun.
Ned opens the portal, and here comes Andrew Garfield, which I do feel kind of bad for Andrew Garfield in this movie because, like, when you got a wrestling main event, the less important person is going to be introduced first, and then the star is going to be introduced second. So it's like, okay, Garfield, you come out first because, like, Tobey Maguire is really the main event here. So, yeah, he gets introduced. And then even in the movie when they're like, okay, Spider-Man number 1 and Spider-Man number 2, and Andrew Garfield's like, I guess I'll be Spider-Man number 3.
He's just happy to be there. I'm telling you, he's just happy to be there. He's like,
it's like
you
a
guys
line in the movie.
You guys want to make me number 3? I'll be number 3. It's cool, guys.
But yeah, he's having a ball, and then and it's just like I didn't know. I was pretty certain we were going to get the Spider-Men in this.
Oh yeah,
like, but at the same time, I wasn't 100% sure because I avoided any of that fucking crap online because I didn't want to know. I just
I was in the same boat. I was in the same boat. I really didn't care. I was just like, you know what? I'm not getting sucked into it because I did that with Star Wars, and I was disappointed. Yeah, all 2 times.
But then here comes digitally face altered Tobey Maguire, and
they didn't alter his face, did they?
There was something going. Every time he was,
it's
on
called
camera,
he got older. That's what it's called. I don't think they altered his face.
I think they took some wrinkles out because every time he like was in the shot, like if you look at the shots with just Andrew Garfield, he's clearly like just in the space, no effect whatsoever. And then Tobey Maguire, there's something.
I know what
going on with his face.
I mean, the truth is that I can't think of the last thing that Tobey Maguire was in. Like, what the last movie was in. So, like, I think there has been some time, a lot of time, between when we last saw him in anything. So, and he's
also like 50 years old.
I was going to say he's not a little kid anymore.
Yeah.
So like that there is that. Yeah, he's 46, not 50. But like what I don't know what he's done since then. So like this probably was one of the most recent films he's done in a long time. Yeah, his last film he did prior to Spider-Man was 2017's The Boss Baby.
Oh God, he was in Boss Baby.
And before that, the last actual like in-person film that he did, like that was an animated thing.
Yeah.
Was 2014. Pawn Sacrifice.
Which whatever the fuck that is.
He played Bobby Fischer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that 2014. So that's a lot of time. Between that and Spider-Man. So it's been a while since we've seen him. But anyway, like I felt that all of the Spider-Men kind of brought everything from those characters that they've built up over their time into this film. You know, Tom Holland kind of comes in, and he comes in as someone who's, you know, lost his mentor, literally died in front of him, is dealing with the repercussions of his actions, and is just in a bad state. And the other Spider-Men, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, are ultimately bringing the lessons they've learned as older Spider-Men and things we've seen in their films, and they come to Tom Holland's aid.
Well, the thing is, like, in both I don't say Andrew Maguire. I'm just going to combine
Andrew Maguire.
Yeah. Toby Garfield and Andrew Maguire. You know, in their movies were like stakes and consequences, and people died and things like, because, you know, they weren't pussies like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where there's no stakes and everything's a joke and everything's just an assembly line of, I felt good. There was explosions and it was good enough, you know. So
that's pretty much how you feel coming out of Eternals, by the way.
Fucking every one of those movies.
I felt good. There was explosions. It was good enough. Did you see the effects? The effects were good.
Everything was funny. You know, it hit every single note that they needed to. It cost $200 million.
Is that your Karen voice?
Kind of, yeah. But, you know, in this movie, one thing that I absolutely loved is, for the first time in these Spider-Man movies, it wasn't all just about Tony Stark. I hated that Spider-Man has taken a backseat to his own movie franchise since joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's just like Tony Stark's is like, you know, like it's grooming him, like, I don't know, for like sex stuff probably.
Oh, come on. No. No.
Hey, let me show you my new Iron Man suit. It's down in the bottom cellar, my wine cellar, you know. And then the next scene, they like star wipe to the next scene, and like Spider-Man comes up like crying and stuff. And he's like, Happy, tell him. And Happy's like, if you tell anyone, we'll kill you and your family.
It's like, you see Friday over there, the computer? Yeah, it knows where you sleep.
Yeah, I've
got nuclear drones all over the place. I could launch a strike. You wouldn't even know it's coming. So if you go to the press, you go to that J. Jonah Jameson, and you go to his crackpot YouTube channel, I swear to God, I will kill you.
Do you really think Pepper Potts broke up with me? No, I've had her locked up for years.
That's a life model decoy, okay?
Tom Cruise taught me how to do it, you know, to lock a woman up.
Oh, you know. God. That's
what
horrible.
The hell is this?
Horrible on so many levels.
But when Aunt May, you know, bites the bullet here because of Goblin, it's like, oh, there's actually going to be repercussions to this whole thing. And I assume that, you know, this universe, no, I don't just assume, I know that in this universe, you know, Uncle Ben wasn't murdered. You know, he just either died or was never a part of this Spider-Man lore. Because, you know, when Aunt May dies, she says, you know, the great responsibility, you know, she says it a little bit different because she says it how it actually was in the comics, which was a nice touch. So, you know.
Plus, I really think that the whole stuff with Goblin, it, you know, highlights that point. Because up until that point, you know, Spider-Man's like, why should I deal with, you know, trying to fix and save these villains, you know, and why should I go through all the trouble? They're villains. And most comic book films, that's where they stop at, is it's black and white. There is no gray area. But what Aunt May brings to this is that gray area that you have to do better, that it is your responsibility. Unfortunately, she dies from it. So,
well, and the thing too is when Goblin comes through, like, I probably shouldn't have laughed my ass off when, like, he just fucking plows her the fuck over it. Like,
you laughed, didn't you?
Yes!
You were in the middle of, were you the only asshole in the theater laughing?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I think there was maybe a couple other assholes snickering.
It was like,
Yeah, I wasn't like vindictively happy about it. I like the Aunt May character. It was just that she was just standing there and then just the bitch got run over. It was funny. But then I was super pissed that like she got up and like was like seemed fine. I'm like, she would have died. And then she fell.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I said the same thing to myself. I'm like, there's no way. Why would she get up?
Yeah.
She's
and then
not.
when she
she's
fell
dead.
over. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, she is gonna die. But
yeah, there's the blood.
Yeah, they wanted to confuse you and make you think that like there was no repercussions to her getting hit by what essentially was like a bus, you know?
Yeah. And it's basically, it's the post Endgame like people could die now thing.
Yeah,
we kill Black Widow, we'll kill Aunt May too. You know, that sort of deal.
Here's one of the things that does bother me about superhero movies of not knowing, exactly what their powers are and what the limitations are and what can kill them and what can't kill them. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe is notorious for this.
Yeah.
And this is why I love Batman, because Batman's a dude. Batman gets shot in the mouth. He's dead. You know what the rules are with Batman, even though they want to stretch it a bit, is, the Goblin bomb is thrown and like Peter like grabs out of midair and only throws it like 2 feet and it just fucking blows up and I'm like, oh well, Peter's dead. But not only is he fine, he doesn't even have like any like scar. I think he's got like a little smoke on his face or some shit, and he's just like, it sucked. It's like
I was gonna say that's the same Goblin bomb that like ripped off Harry's face in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Or the same Goblin bomb that turned people into skeletons in the first movie.
You would think that Goblin bomb would be used like every single time. I don't know. I saw that. I was watching the first movie the other day just because I was I was watching the third one. I was laughing at it, but I was watching the first one too, just watching clips of it, and I'm like, why would you not use the vaporize into skeleton bomb more often?
Yeah.
That would be my first one. I'd go to that one over the explosion bomb.
Hey, maybe he's only got so many of those. You can't just like use them.
He made one. He used it one time,
and he just kills like some randos too.
He didn't kill randos. He killed. It was those corporate assholes that voted him out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Man, it's been a while since I've seen that.
Didn't they know how much he sacrificed?
But essentially, that was my Wile E. Coyote moment of it. Like, here comes Peter. He's got like a little bit of like smudge on his face, and it's just like, no, he's dead. But is he dead? Because he's Spider-Man. Like, does his super strength protect him from buffs? I don't fucking know.
They don't really tell you what all of Spider-Man's like powers are in this. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, and by the way, spiders can swing from webs because they don't have bones, okay? Mm-hmm. If Peter Parker was swinging, he would snap his spinal cord. Anyways.
Has that really bothered you? Like,
yes.
forever?
Oh, it's bothered me for years. Years.
You're like, why is Peter Parker should basically be Mr. Glass from the movie Glass?
Yeah, exactly.
If he's just walking down the street doing a dance, his hollow ass bones snap. Oh God. So let's talk a little bit about the ending of this. So after the two Spider-Men give Spider-Man Prime is what we're going to call him. A pep talk of, hey, I accidentally, didn't catch my girlfriend. She's dead. And, oh yeah, I killed a man from Tobey Maguire.
And then I let another man die. And then
I let another man die.
He killed Venom too, didn't he?
He killed. He did. He blew it up.
And then Venom also then killed the Sex Pest, right? And then so like Tobey Maguire really sucks at being a hero.
Yeah, he's almost got as bad of a record as like Batman does at not killing people. Because Batman kind of kills some people.
Yeah. And they go into their lab, and it's actually kind of neat because every Spider-Man does like what they're kind of best at. Like Holland is like good at math, and then like there's a chemistry for the Andrew Garfield one, and like I can't remember what Tobey Maguire's one is, but
he was doing chemistry too. Yeah, they're both doing chemistry because like Tobey Maguire was coming up with a formula to get rid of Goblin.
Right. Yeah. And then so they can use that to stop everybody. And then they just said, "Hey, meet me at all supervillains, meet me at the Statue of Liberty." And this isn't a trap or anything.
No, not a trap at all.
And the thing is, no police or media or civilians show up whatsoever. Now, I know the Statue of Liberty is an island. You have to take a ferry out there. But, nobody managed to get out there, media especially. I don't know. But, yeah, and then all the villains show up and be like, this can't possibly be a trap. Let's kill all them Spidermans.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that because, if I was the villain, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, terrorize the city.
Yeah, Doc Ock wouldn't show. I mean, Sandman's a doofus. Goblin's crazy. Electro has, delusions of grandeur.
Yes.
And then, Lizard Face, I don't know.
Lizard Face just wants to turn people into lizards.
He shows up because there was some, bugs in the dirt that he wanted to eat. I don't know.
He's like, I've heard Liberty Island has some great mosquitoes to eat. And good waterfowl to eat, too. They could sit on my nose, and I can just grab them, Isn't that what alligators do? That's how they eat. Isn't it? The alligators, they pretend they're islands, and the bird comes in, sits on it, and then they get eaten.
Yes, yeah, I believe so.
I believe that's how it's.
I ain't no scientist, but I think
I'm not a scientist. But yeah, so they had the battle ensues, which I love the fact that after the whole thing with the Avengers and Endgame, it's well, let's just put Captain America's shield on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Even though it was Iron Man who, did the snappy snap and sacrifice.
But I mean, I guess he kind of thought, well, Iron Man is fucked up a bunch. That he's not a hero. He just paid it forward from all the shit he did wrong. For so many years.
Let's just be honest here. He's the Batman of the MCU.
Yeah,
he's Batman. You're not going to see a statue to Batman, even though that did happen in The Dark Knight Rises. You would never see a statue to Batman.
I mean, Batman blows it. I mean, he probably saved thousands of dollars of property damage alone.
You asshole.
But yeah, and here's the problem I have with this end fight scene. As cool as it was, because of course
it was very cool.
When you have a $200 million budget, it's going to look good. I couldn't tell which Spider-Man was who, because they all had the same outfit on, and they all relatively have the same squeaky voice.
Yes, they do.
So it's hey, look out, Spider-Man. Oh, thanks, Spider-Man. Oh, hey, look at Spider-Man's fighting that guy. It's wait, which one is which?
What they should have done was gotten a can of spray paint and just spray painted 1, 2, and 3 themselves.
Yeah. Long story short, the guys win the day. And here's a problem I had with the whole Tom Holland almost killing
I like
Green
that
Goblin.
part.
But the thing is, it wasn't an arc for Tom Holland. It was an arc for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but he wasn't the one that was supposed to have the journey.
Tom Holland wasn't?
No. I mean, Tobey Maguire was like, no, don't kill him because, I didn't kill him, but I watched him die and I we can't go that route again, so I'm going to save his life. And it's well, no, it's not your journey, Tobey Maguire. It's Tom Holland's. Or is he saying
Well, here's how I interpreted that thing, is that point was really, that was not Spider-Man versus Green Goblin. That was, Peter Parker trying to avenge the death of his aunt. So that was a personal fight. The reason why Tobey Maguire is the only person who could possibly do that and possibly get in the way, he's the only one who's killed anybody.
Yeah. Well, the guy
he killed a man. He actually
Uncle
physically killed someone who he believed killed his uncle.
Yeah.
So that's why he had to make that play. I'm surprised I'm surprised he didn't die. Because, getting stabbed in the back, I'm pretty sure you die from that.
Well, once again, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, of course, he's like, oh, it's not the first time I've been stabbed. Flurp, slurp.
Yeah, it was that. I saw him just oh, God, you're killing Toby.
Oh, yeah, I was pissed about that. I think everybody was pissed about that.
No, you can't kill Toby.
I was the only one laughing at Aunt May getting like literally split in half, but everybody in the theater that like me was going, yeah, when Tobey Maguire got stabbed.
But of course they laughed it off. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah. But here's what I did like about the end of this is that everybody is brought back to their own universe, so it's almost kind of like it didn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of a good thing. It's not like oh, all these Spider-Mans are going to stay here now, or there's an open door where Tom Holland can just go into Sam Raimi's universe. Like no, it kind of closed it off because well, I mean, on top of all these guys disappearing, like. Oh shit, there's a fucking portal opening up of like all these like different people that know Peter Parker from like a quadrillion universes. Yeah. And I don't quite understand how this makes sense other than just because it's a movie and just go with it. When he's like, well, they know who Spider-Man, or it's not just Spider-Man, but maybe if nobody knows who Peter Parker is, then they won't come and shit. And Doctor Strange is like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, okay,
it makes sense to me because it's a matter of not knowing who Peter Parker is erases everything that he has done up, throughout the entire MCU. So it's one of those things that quite literally you could end it right there. They could stop making Spider-Man movies. They're not going to because of course this movie made a shit ton of fucking money and continues to make a shit ton of fucking money. But
I bet there's going to be at least 3 more Tom.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's one of those things that you could, if you wanted to, call it a day on this one. I think that was the whole point of this, is that they could absolutely call it a day on this one and say, hey, you know what, we're not making any more. He has an end to his arc in this, is that he becomes the hero that we all know and love from the comics after this. That he is not supported by a billionaire tech genius. He's not helped out by a magician. It's all on him. And that's kind of what Spider-Man's always been, is he's never had all those gadgets. Never has, Yeah,
he's just like a kid that made like some web shooters like attached
he uses
to his
brain.
glove. Yeah, and it wasn't just, he didn't have all this Tony Stark technology, But that's good too, because in both of the original versions, like great power comes great responsibility, great buzzword, but it's never really played. There's never any time where that actually comes forth in those movies. And this one, with great power comes great responsibility, and he actually has to do the responsible thing, even though he's going to cause everyone to fucking forget him, and he's going to probably have to live on the streets, because he doesn't probably exist any longer. I gotta
say, I gotta ask this question because I thought it ran through my head. So when he's in the apartment, did you think that they were gonna bring back the rent guy from the Raimi universe?
I was kind of pissed they didn't bring.
I was like, come on, they gotta just bring the rent guy back. Just have him say rent.
Yeah. So sidebar here, real quick. Sidebar.
Yeah.
If J. Jonah Jameson is the same actor from the Tobey Maguire movies in this one, how does that work? Because like
alternate universes,
but they're the same person. They have the same fucking face.
Yeah,
it's not like the other Spider-Mans from other universe were just other Tom Hollands.
Multiverse theory. Okay, it's an alternate universe. This one is bald. This one has a TV show. I mean, honestly, like it's the same shit that I saw when. Okay, I don't know about you. I don't watch it as much as I used to, but I used to watch The Flash all the time, and The Flash has basically been built to be dealing with the multiverse stuff up until like around 3 years ago. But the point is that in The Flash, you have the multiverse where the same actors are doing different versions of that same person. So like you'll have a Barry Allen that it's, his mom didn't die, and that's kind of that version in that Earth. Or in the Flash series, Harrison Wells was the MacGuffin. Like you have Earth 2 Harrison Wells, who's known as Harry Wells. That's what I'm getting across, is that it's the same person. It's just a different version of them. In Raimi's universe, he became a newspaper magnate. In our in the MCU universe, he became a new media, social media, YouTube.
But he's the same person. But he's the same goddamn person.
Yes, but just different circumstances.
Get out of jail writing free card. It's what all this multi-universe shit
Listen,
is.
let's be honest here. Could you find anyone else to play J. Jonah Jameson? No.
Hey. Well, I know. I'll say this. I didn't think you could get anybody else to play the Joker except Jack Nicholson. And then Heath Ledger came in and fucking nailed it. And now Joaquin Phoenix did pretty good too. So I'm like, oh, well, I was wrong about that. You could have gotten another Jonah Jameson.
I don't think there's a good. I mean, honestly, like, you know, that actor really did a really good job.
He did. Yeah.
With it. That's kind of, he's owned it. I honestly think, I don't know why he played Commissioner Gordon in the DC universe films, because he's not good at that.
Well, I think I don't know, the way he looked and the way he spoke. I think if he had like, just like with Andrew Garfield, if he had good filmmakers and artists around him, he maybe could have been a very good Jim Gordon. You know, like everybody, it's kind of reevaluating Andrew Garfield through this movie because like, oh, he was so great in this. And then we just realized, oh, he wasn't a bad Spider-Man. He was just in bad movies. He probably could have been a great Spider-Man if the fucking movies didn't suck ass. You know,
I think when you have a director whose name ends with Webb and he's doing a Spider-Man film, you probably don't hire that person. Like, I always thought it was a joke. I'm like, let me get this straight. His name is Mark Webb and he is directing the Spider-Man film.
That's probably why they hired him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as Tim Story doing a Fantastic Four film. I think is that what he did? I think he did Fantastic Four. I don't remember.
If they make another Jurassic Park movie, I'm just going to go and like, oh, here, this guy's interviewing for the director job. His name's Johnny Dinosaur.
Johnny
hire
Dinosaur.
him.
Yeah. But yeah, at the end of this film, Tim Story did Fantastic Four. It's like, well, his last name's Story, so he must know.
Yeah, he must know about
He must know about storytelling.
3-act structures.
Yeah, because it's in his name.
But can I just ask you?
Yeah.
You know, nobody remembers who Peter Parker is, but didn't Flash Thompson write a book about Peter Parker and Spider-Man?
Yes, but remember, I'm assuming that this reverberates across, you know, all time. So that means all the shit that he did.
So this undoes history?
It undoes history.
Okay. So like, any like the shrine in his high school, any video that was taken, all the stuff that Mysterio posted.
Yep.
That's all just
they know who
gone.
Spider-Man is. They just don't know. It doesn't erase what Spider-Man has done. It erases the memory of Peter Parker from people's minds. So that means that Tony Stark wouldn't know who he was.
No video of like,
yes.
So like, if like, I'm sure that like him and Ned and Mary Jane won like science decathlons and there was probably video of it. But does that video just erase from history?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
All right, I'll just go with it. Yeah.
Just go with it. Just don't even try it. If you think too much about it, and that's the thing, is that these sorts of get out of jail free cards is what I think that's what we're going to call them. Spider-Man, the get out of jail free card film. Pretty much.
Do not shoot webs. Do not collect $500.
Just don't try to think too much into it. I guess that's what I'm just trying to say.
Yeah. It is a movie about a man spider fighting a
sandstorm,
or an octopus. A man spider fighting an octopus. You know?
I mean, really, the way you fight that sandstorm is you just get it wet. I only know that because it happened in Spider-Man 3. Sandman's worst enemy is fucking water.
Yeah, thank God he didn't live in Seattle or fuck, for that matter, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, seriously. If you had a fight in Pittsburgh, Sandman would be out for the count.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie, honestly. I mean, even though we've talked a lot about it, we've joked about some plot points here and there. It actually is a really solid film. Out of a studio that I think we went into this thinking, okay, they might want to quit while they're ahead. And I'd seen some articles up until the release of this film saying, does Marvel really got the cojones to still put out good content? And I think they still do, based off of this movie.
Well, I know we're probably running long, but there's two things that we got to mention here.
Okay, sure.
First off, I love the ending of this movie where he goes to try to like tell Mary Jane, like, hey, you don't know that you know me, but you know me. Like I finger blasted you like 3 weeks ago.
Hey, now you don't know if that happened.
Well, I'm sure they got into finger blast country.
I think they got probably to second base.
Yeah, maybe she's kissed it. I don't know. But anyways, he sees like all the injuries that she had because of him, and she realized she didn't get into college because of it, and he realizes that like they're better off not knowing them, that they're safer, and so he walks away from the situation. That was like legitimately heartbreaking. That was like a real emotion in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Like, imagine that, and it wasn't undercut by a stupid joke. So I thought that was really nice. And then my question to you, the other thing here is this a soft reboot? Because I really feel that this is a soft reboot
for the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, now all the stuff is involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe like kind of didn't happen because nobody remembers him. And now he doesn't have the Stark suit. He has his own suit that he made. And it just seemed like, okay, yeah, now here's the Spider-Man that you all really like from the comic books. And it's not just like, he's no longer just Tony Stark's nephew.
I mean, I think it was the arc of this character that was necessary. I think that was the biggest thing, is that Spider-Man has always been introduced as a child. And that's really what he was. In Civil War, he was a child. He was probably 14 years old at the time?
15, yeah.
14, 15 years old. So he was a 14, 15-year-old child. And, he had to deal with some stuff with, Civil War and No Way Home and dealing with Spider-Man Homecoming and Endgame and all that stuff. But still, his arc was never anything other than just becoming, a better superhero. Not really so much a better version of Peter Parker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in this film, for me at least, it brings that arc to dealing with Peter Parker himself and basically getting Peter Parker to a more mature level that we kind of did see with, the Andrew Garfield films and the Tom Maguire films. So you do see a little bit of a maturity in those characters. I think that's why they brought them in. Not only just for the money's sake, but also it made sense for the story. But yeah, I do think that this does give you now a reboot of saying, hey, he's not just a little kid anymore. Yeah. He had to sacrifice most important things to him.
And I'm hoping that this means that like his future movies are going to be Spider-Man movies and not Iron Man B stories,
I think it has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's the main thing they got now since Downey Jr.'s out and Chris Evans is out and hell, they're doing Hawkeye shows for fuck's sake. They clearly
I like the Hawkeye show. Not a lot of people liked it. I liked it.
I haven't seen it yet,
but I honestly think that I think the next one's going to be the Ned goes to Hobgoblin territory.
You think they're going to jump there? Like,
here's the reason. Here's the reason why I think that. You left it off with no longer having Peter Parker as a positive influence on Ned Leeds. So, what do you think could happen with that character if Peter Parker is no longer an influence on that character?
Interesting. Yeah.
So that's the only way to go for it. Plus, it gives Ned Leeds some screen time other than just being the comic relief.
Yeah. Well, it's and it's interesting with this movie. It's like obviously Batman has a rogues gallery of lesser known like Clayface, Killer Croc, Mad Hatter. But if you're Warner Brothers, you're like, okay, Joe Schmo and Jane Schmo don't know who the fuck those are. They want Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Joker. And So when they started doubling up on the bad guys in the original like run of Batman, was like they're gonna run out of villains because nobody knows who Scarecrow is or anything like that. And I feel that like I was like, this is ballsy of this movie to take, Connors, Sandman, Doc Ock, Goblin, and who else? Is there another one? I'm trying to remember.
Electro.
Is that Electro? 5 fucking villains, and I mean, I know Spider-Man's got a shit ton of villains, but 5 fucking villains in one movie?
Yeah.
God damn. They also used Mysterio and who was the guy in that? Who did he fight in the first one?
He fought Vulture.
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, he fought Batman. So yeah, it's like it has to be Hobgoblin. I think you're right because like they're out of villains.
Well, I just look at it from the standpoint of if I'm a storytelling, if I'm screenwriting this thing, the movie ends off with Peter Parker believing that the world is better off not knowing who he is and that his friends don't know who he is. So if that's where you leave off, then the next logical conclusion is what is the consequence of, say, your friends not having your influence anymore? And the consequence to me is that you've introduced a character that in the comics we know is going to become Hobgoblin at some point. Why not have that happen? Plus, it also forces, Peter to have to deal with that and not just say, well, they're better off just not knowing me. You know what I mean? As much as the positive things, the negative things of people knowing that he's Spider-Man, there's also a lot of positive things too. Yeah. But no,
that's true.
It's good film. It's a good film.
I loved it a lot. And, just in closing here, I don't know if it was member berries.
It was member berries.
and that I loved Spider-Man so much. I think I'm an X-Men man first and foremost, but I love Spider-Man. I mean, that's like trying to pick between Godfather and Goodfellas. I don't know. It's like picking between children, between Spider-Man and X-Men. So I don't know if it's those two things. But I one thing that I liked is that this was a Spider-Man movie first and foremost. Yeah. There were actual consequences. It wasn't just undercut by the assembly line jokey bullshit Ragnarok crap that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hey, now I love Ragnarok. Come on, man.
I know it's. I'm the only one. It's the hill I'm gonna die on alone.
That is the hill you're gonna die on alone. I'm not joining you on that one.
Yeah, but Taika Waititi, stick to Hitler movies.
Hey, he did good. He did good. He's gonna do good with Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay.
All right. Yeah. We'll see. Natalie Portman's Thor. Well, okay. We'll see.
Yeah.
Little tiny Natalie Portman. But and it kind of gave a very casual reboot of, okay, now we're gonna get the Spider-Man that I love, and and that's cool. So there was a lot of things that I thought really worked in here, but at the same time, I think also my affinity for this and saying it's my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, I have some reasons that I can say, okay, those are really thoughtful reasons, but also, yes, it was member berries and Spider-Man. So I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B why I love this movie so much.
Did you mean to do a Aladdin reference just now?
Did I?
Yeah, you did. A little from column A and a little from column B. That's literally a song from the movie Aladdin.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, Aladdin's probably my favorite of the Disney princess movies. So
there you go. Right, yeah. There you go. But I honestly, closing thoughts for me, this was a fun, enjoyable ride. It did not feel to me like a paint by numbers superhero film. I had seen Eternals in theaters prior to this, and I went in thinking, oh God, here we go. We're going to get another one of these, and it's going to not add anything new. And I felt that this one absolutely did add enough things in new. It gave us new perspective on characters that we had already seen in previous films. And it really did, as you said, it opened the doors up for more adventures of this character more in line with what we've seen in comic books of this character. So I look forward to seeing what they do next. I guarantee you you're going to have more of these crossover films because they make money. Like, why not? I already know they're making a Into the Spider-Verse sequel, which that movie really had an ending that basically negated any sort of sequel to it.
Yeah. And I mean,
but now they can go back and forth. Through multiverse. So it's going to happen with this one.
Get out of jail free card, yeah. And I mean, hey, like, speaking of that was in my top 10 of, what was that, 18, 19?
That was 18, yeah.
18. Yeah, that was in my top 10. I think it was like number 5 or 6 or something. Like, I fucking love that one too. So
yeah,
I'm sadly excited for a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, even though you're right, it's completely unnecessary.
It's unnecessary, and honestly, it kind of negates all the stuff from the first movie. But hey, whatever, money.
Yeah.
I did want to say one closing thing on this is, what did you think of the Venom end credit sequence and the trailer for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness?
The Venom thing was fucking stupid, but it was necessary because, like, it was corporate. They needed to get that Tom Hardy's Venom into this universe because, like, Sony's gonna, like, let them cut them a check for Tom Hardy too. But I don't really give a shit about these goddamn mid-credit sequences. I hate when the mid-credit sequence you have to see to know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
In the movies, because, like, I left Ragnarok, like, out when the credits started, not for any reason. I'm just like, I gotta go, I gotta piss. And thank God that I looked online what the mid-credit sequence was about, like, Thanos, like, capturing the ship and killing everybody. Because if I had seen the beginning of Infinity War, I've been like, what the fuck is going on? Like, when did this happen? But, so they had to just throw the Venom thing in there because they didn't want Tobey Maguire, right? So
yeah.
They want Tom Holland. So they're going to figure out a way for that to work, which is interesting because I read somewhere that, like, it's not the same symbiote, obviously, as Tobey Maguire, but all the Venom symbiotes have kind of a hive mind.
Yeah.
So that, like, his Tom Holland's Venom knows about Spider-Man because of the same hive mind of the one that was controlling what was that character's name? Not Flash.
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock, yeah.
Yeah.
The Tobey Maguire version. Tobey Maguire. God damn these fucking names. Topher Grace one.
Yeah.
So I thought, that's a good way to, like, get around the fact that there's 2 Venoms. But yeah, so it was just necessary to get it out of the way. And then, I love that this movie ended with a fucking trailer for the next movie. Like, it's Back to the Future 2. Like,
yes.
Coming soon, Back to the Future 3.
I immediately thought of that. I'm just like, oh, we're Back to the Future 2 in this thing. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
We haven't had one of those since the Captain America, the first Avenger. Remember that?
It's like, coming soon, Avengers, the movie.
Avengers, you're excited, aren't you? And I mean, I was like, okay, cool. We'll watch this. But no, I thought the ending things were fine. I have yet to see the new Venom film with Woody Harrelson in it. So
it's fucking awful.
That's kind of what I figured. First one was fucking awful, and I imagine the second one was. I know that my kids saw it and they liked it because they're children.
Yeah, I probably would have liked it if I was your kids' ages too. But I think I commented, like, on Facebook. I was like, it takes balls to, like, not fix any of the problems with the first movie and be like, you idiots will still come in droves, and they were right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
I bought a ticket like an asshole, so they got me. They got my money.
You bought a ticket like an asshole. Oh, well, we've talked Spider-Man to death, I think.
Yeah. And if any of you are upset with spoilers, goddamn, we gave you 4 fucking weeks, like 4.5 weeks.
Yeah.
You better have seen it by now.
Come on.
That's why we give so many weeks, We're going to talk about The Matrix next week, the Matrix regurgitation or returdination or whatever the fuck.
Hey, I liked it. I'll tell you right now, I fucking liked it.
We talked in private, and I said I thought it was a piece of crap. I'm going to actually walk that back a little bit. I'm excited to talk with you about this next week because
Did you watch it again?
Yes, actually. But I'm not walking it back completely. There are things that I appreciate, because I think that, Lana was trolling Warner Brothers, and I think that's fucking hilarious. I still think the movie's a mess, but I think it's funny that she's like, "Fuck you, Warner Brothers, eat shit." This whole movie is an eat shit letter from Lana Wachowski. So I actually do kind of like that. So it'll be very interesting conversation next week. Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun one. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, John, where can they find you at on the social medias?
The Unreal J Wolves. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and I never do anything on Instagram, but feel free to message me anyways, because you can message anybody on Instagram. And most importantly, J-Dub's Video Nasties over on YouTube.
Got that new Santa Claus video up. It looked pretty good to me.
Yeah, I know, like Christmas in January, that fucking video, I could never goddamn finish it, and so it's got it out January 11th,
Hey, it was
Christmassy.
Good. It was
Thank
good.
you.
I liked it.
Thank you.
I thought it was pretty decent. You can find me at Brian Coddington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network, epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, or if, I don't know, you are confused about the multiversal theory, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. We'll be able to pull out a chalkboard and show you exactly how time travel works and how you can skew into this tangent. Be sure to subscribe or follow us wherever you listen to audio, and we will see you next time.
Peter, you have a throbbing boner. Doc Cock must be by.
It's a spider tingle.
Epicast.